The upper body muscles are many and often confusing, so this month we're going to focus on those. Today, we bring our focus to the large, trapezoid-shaped trapezius muscle. The trapezius muscle is a large muscle that occupies mostly the posterior or back of our bodies. It's often spoken of as one muscle, and in reality, it is one muscle. But much like the deltoids, it is usually defined based on its action and discussed more specifically in three sections: upper trapezius, middle trapezius, and lower trapezius. For short, it's often called the traps. The upper trapezius lies superficial to the supraspinatus, meaning it's closer to the surface than the supraspinatus, which makes sense as the supraspinatus is a rotator cuff muscle, which works to both abduct and stabilize the head of the upper arm bone, or humerus, in the shoulder socket. While the upper trap engages in certain shoulder movements, it also acts on the neck. As we look visually at this image, we can see the attachment points go higher than that of the supraspinatus. When we go into a yogi squat and really press our shoulder blades down our back, as we press our hands together and our elbows and inner knees into one another, sometimes we can feel a stretch in that upper portion of the trapezius muscle. It's important to maintain the natural curves of the spine as we squat for stability and to gain as much out of the posture as is possible. The middle trapezius sits below or inferior to the upper portion. It works in tandem with the rhomboids to pull the shoulder blades towards the spine. When we go into thread the needle pose, often we stretch our middle traps along with the rhomboids, and possibly even the upper traps, depending on the position of the head and neck in the pose, and or the variation that is being done. The lower traps have several of the opposite actions of the upper portion of the same muscle, which for some reason I find fascinating. It's discussed as one muscle, but really they oppose one another. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I think that's just a really fascinating part of the upper body.